Hi, thank you for joining me. Happy Friday. Today I'm going to be reading The Original Creation Signature by Jason Gray. 3/13/2026, 6026 Anno Lucis. 7:38 GMT -6, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Every true act of creation leaves behind a signature. Not a name typed at the bottom of a page, not a watermark hidden in an image. Something far more subtle and far more powerful. When a human being genuinely creates, whether through writing, art, music, discovery, or insight, they imprint the work with the architecture of their mind and the weight of their lived experience. This imprint is what can be called the original creation signature. It is the invisible fingerprint of consciousness itself. Every authentic idea carries it. Every original piece of writing contains it. Every genuine insight holds within it the unmistakable pattern of the mind that brought it into existence. Most people think of ideas as interchangeable units, as though thoughts are simply combinations of words that can be rearranged without consequence. This assumption misses the deeper reality of creation. A true idea is not merely the arrangement of language. It is the crystallization of years of thinking, questioning, suffering, observing, learning, and refining. When an idea fully emerges in its articulated form, it carries the entire history of the mind that produced it. The tone, the structure, the rhythm of the sentences, the metaphors chosen, even the way the idea unfolds, all of it is shaped by the singular path the creator walked to arrive there. No one else has walked that path in exactly the same way. No one else has lived the exact sequence of experiences that produce that insight, and because of that, every authentic creation carries a pattern that cannot be duplicated. This is why readers instinctively recognize authenticity when they encounter it. Even if they cannot articulate why, something in the work feels alive. There is coherence within it. There is continuity between the ideas. The work does not merely inform, it resonates. The reader senses what they are reading was not assembled mechanically, but discovered internally. It was excavated from the mind of someone who genuinely wrestled with the subject long enough to bring something new into the world. That resonance is the creation signature revealing itself. As long as human beings have created, others have attempted to claim the work of creators as their own. Sometimes this happens openly, through direct plagiarism. Sometimes it happens subtly, through small alterations designed to disguise the origin. Sentences are rearranged, words are swapped. The structure is shifted just enough that the copying appears less obvious. Other times, the theft occurs indirectly. Someone absorbs the work of another, repeats the ideas in conversation or writing, and eventually begins to believe the thoughts originated within themselves. The forms may vary, but the underlying act is the same, taking the invisible expression of another mind's work while severing it from the mind that created it. At first, the consequences of this may appear minimal. In a world that moves quickly and rarely pauses to examine the origins of ideas, the imitator may even appear successful. They may even gain recognition. They may attract attention. They may temporarily convince others that the work came from them. In the short term, imitation can masquerade as originality. Beneath the surface, something profound begins to occur. Creation and imitation operate on entirely different energetic structures. The original creator is connected to the source current from which the idea emerged. Their mind remains in dialogue with the well that produced the insight. The idea they expressed was not an isolated event. It was part of an ongoing relationship between their consciousness and the deeper field of thought itself. Because of that relationship, new ideas continue to emerge. The creator refines, expands, revisits, and deepens the work. Their thinking evolves because the channel that produced the original insight remains open. The imitator, however, has no connection to that current. They possess only the surface expression of the idea, stripped of the internal process that generated it. They can repeat it. They can reshape it. They can even expand upon it temporarily. Eventually, they encounter a boundary they cannot cross. Without access to the origin current, they cannot produce the deeper layers that naturally follow authentic creation. The work begins to plateau. The ideas begin to repeat. The writing loses its vitality because the engine that produces genuine insight was never theirs to begin with. This is where the deeper consequences begin to unfold. Every act of creation generates a kind of internal alignment. The creator strengthens their relationship with the source of their thinking. Each authentic idea builds upon the last, reinforcing the mind's ability to generate new insight. Creativity compounds. The more a person creates honestly, the stronger their connection to the creative current becomes. Their ideas deepen because the process itself is strengthening their mind. Imitation works in the opposite direction. When someone repeatedly takes the work of others, they weaken their own capacity to originate thought. Instead of cultivating the difficult but rewarding process of independent thinking, they become dependent on external sources. The mind slowly adapts to this dependency. Rather than wrestling with ideas long enough to produce something new, it learns to scan for what has already been created elsewhere. Over time, this erodes the internal discipline required for genuine creativity. What begins as opportunistic copying gradually becomes creative stagnation. The consequences do not stop there. On a deeper level, taking the work of another person without acknowledgement creates what could be described as a karmic distortion of authorship. The imitator is attempting to claim energetic credit for something they did not generate. They are attaching their identity to a signal that originated from another consciousness. For a time, this may appear to work externally, but internally it produces a fracture. The individual begins to construct an identity around ideas that were never authentically theirs. Maintaining this illusion requires constant reinforcement. The person must continue borrowing, continue echoing, continue surrounding themselves with borrowed brilliance because they never cultivated the inner structure required to generate it. Eventually, this becomes exhausting. The imitator lives in a perpetual state of creative scarcity. Every new expression requires another act of borrowing. Every moment of attention must be sustained by ideas that originated elsewhere. The more they rely on imitation, the less capable they become of authentic thought. The well inside them grows quiet because it was never exercised. Meanwhile, the original creator continues working. They continue writing. They continue thinking. They continue refining their ideas and producing new ones. The difference between the two paths becomes more visible over time. One mind deepens, the other repeats. One voice evolves, the other echoes. Eventually, readers begin to sense the difference, even if they cannot explain it. Authentic creators build bodies of work that expand organically. Their ideas grow more sophisticated. Their voice becomes unmistakable. The imitator, however, begins to circle the same territory endlessly. Without realizing it, they reveal the limits of what they borrowed. This is why many true creators eventually stop worrying about who takes their words. They come to understand a profound truth. Originality cannot be stolen because the source of originality remains with the creator. If an idea came through you once, it can come through you again, often in a deeper and more refined form. The creative current does not dry up simply because someone else attempted to claim its surface expression. In fact, many creators find that the act of continuing to produce authentic work makes imitation irrelevant. The deeper their thinking becomes, the more obvious the difference between original insight and borrowed language becomes. Time itself becomes the revealer. Imitations fade. Echoes lose their strength. Genuine voices grow louder the longer they continue creating. This is the quiet law that governs creative integrity. The one who truly generates the signal continues transmitting. The ones who merely repeat the signal eventually fall silent. When the noise of imitation finally fades, what remains is the unmistakable presence of the original mind that first brought the idea into the world. The signature was there all along. Jason Gray. Okay. I think I'm kind of gathering from that maybe somebody is stealing Jason's work again. I know it has happened in the past when he was in the Ancient Order of the Hermetics group. So I'm wondering if something like that has happened again or if it's the same group doing what they were doing before. But essentially, yeah, it's a painful process. As an artist, when I decided to start donating all of my artwork, that I was going to quit signing it, because to me, it didn't matter if my name was on it or not. It's channeled work, But the whole point of me doing it was that my frequency was on it and it was encoded with what I put into it. And even if someone else wanted to hang it on their wall and call it theirs, that doesn't mean that that's true. So anyway, that's just what my perspective has been in the situation. And if someone is stealing Jason's work and trying to pass it off as their own, I think that's despicable. I think it's horrible. So hopefully it's not something that he's had to struggle with too much, but it can be extremely challenging, I know, as a creative person. So anyway, that's it for this one, and I will see you all next time. Have a good day.